Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. For dinner this first night, pizza sounded really good to us, so we ordered from Papa John's. Gary specifically really wanted a Philly cheesesteak pizza, so we ordered a medium for him, and then we got a medium barbecue chicken pizza with pineapple. And then Gary also wanted to try their, I think it's called the Tuscan 6 cheese breadsticks or something like that. So that's what we ordered. Here are the plates, and we had tons of leftovers. For dinner the next night, I made Big Mac sliders. I saw this on Plated by Dee's Instagram, but she took the recipe from Chef Cam. I'll have both of their Instagrams listed down in the description box below. So to get started, I am going to make a broccoli salad. Now, I saw this also on Instagram. I think it's Britt's Cooking. Again, I'll have her Instagram link down below. So to get started, we're going to make like the sauce for the broccoli salad. She used Miracle Whip because she said it was a little bit sweeter than mayonnaise. So what I'm going to do is just use mayonnaise and then add a little bit of sugar. Next, we're going to add some balsamic vinegar, and this is what made me want to try her recipe. Usually when I make my broccoli salad, I use just regular white vinegar, and so this kind of little twist on it, like I said, made me want to give it a try. So after the vinegar, we're going to add some salt, pepper, garlic powder, and crushed red pepper flakes. Just do the seasonings to taste, and then we're going to mix that until it's really well combined. I'm going to give this a taste, and I did feel like it needed that little bit of sugar, so I'm going to add that and then give it one final mix, and then I'm going to set the sauce to the side. To this bowl, I'm going to add in my chopped broccoli, and I just washed this and gave it a good chop. And then next, this is another little twist of Britt's. Normally I add like dried cranberries for a little sweetness, but she suggested adding some chopped grape or cherry tomatoes. So I'm going to add that, and then cooked bacon. I'm using just some prepackaged bacon pieces. You could of course cook up bacon. Next, I'm going to add in some shredded cheddar cheese as well as some sunflower seeds and then red onions. Now, normally we don't like raw onions and stuff like this, but I decided to give them a soak in some ice water to see if that, kind of cut the harshness of the onion, and we liked it just fine, so I think I'll continue to do that. Once I've got that stirred together, I'm going to add in the sauce and give it one final really good mix, and then that's pretty much it. I'm going to cover this and place this into the refrigerator for a couple hours until we're ready for it for dinner. Now for the sliders, we're going to start out by browning up the ground beef. I wasn't thinking when I bought these, I was just thinking sliders, so I bought the slider patties. We're just going to break those up so you don't have to get slider patties like I did. Now really you can season this any way you'd like. Chef Cam used Badia Complete seasoned salt and some Worcestershire sauce, so I'm going to follow his instructions and use the same. I decided to hold off on adding the Worcestershire sauce and add it a little bit later. So I'm going to take my little meat chopper and break up that meat, and then I decided, so for Big Macs, normally they have raw onions on them, but Gary specifically orders Big Macs without raw onions whenever he gets them. So in order to kind of give that same onion flavor, I'm going to add in some minced onions to the ground beef while it's cooking. I decided to go ahead and add the Worcestershire sauce at this point. I'm going to continue to break it up and then just cook this until it is brown all the way through. Now, depending on the fat content of your meat, you may need to drain the fat off. Once that's brown, we're going to add in a few slices of American cheese, just nothing fancy, good old American cheese. We're going to give that a stir and then cook this for just a couple minutes until the cheese is completely melted, and then we're going to set that to the side. I've got the oven preheating. I think Chef Cam said to do 375. I think I did 350. It doesn't really matter. So to a grease baking dish, and you can see here I picked one that was too small, so I had to switch it out. I'm going to add my slider buns. You could use whatever slider buns you prefer. I'm going to remove the top so that just the bottoms are in. And next we're going to add our Big Mac sauce. So Chef Cam's recipe, which again will be linked down below, he shares a Big Mac sauce. I had some copycat In-N-Out sauce that I'd made for the burgers for Gary's birthday party. I had it left over. I needed to use up, and they're very similar. So I'm just going to add that, and you want to be generous with the sauce. After the sauce, we're going to add on some more sliced American cheese and then that ground beef mixture that we made. Once we've got that, we're going to add the bun tops, and then I did differ a little bit here from Chef Cam. So he suggested brushing the rolls with butter after the sliders come out of the oven, but Big Macs are served on sesame seed buns, so I went ahead and added some butter now, and then I'm going to add the sesame seeds and then pop this into the oven. And everything's already cooked, so really all we're doing is warming up the buns and allowing that cheese to melt. So we're going to bake these for about 10 to 15 minutes or so. So I removed these from the oven and I removed the buns and set those to the side, and then we're going to dress this just like a Big Mac. So we're going to add some sliced pickles, and then if you like raw onions, you'd add some finely diced raw onions here. And then we're going to add some shredded iceberg lettuce, top it off with some more of that sauce, and then the bun tops, and then that's it. These will be ready to serve up. Now, I loved these. I absolutely loved these. Gary liked it okay. I mean, he liked it. He didn't like it as much as I did, if that makes sense. But these were so delicious. I highly recommend you all give these a try. So good. All right, so here's a picture of our plate. We've got some of the sliders and then the broccoli salad. And like I said, this was delicious. For dinner the next night, I did not get a picture, but we just had leftovers. I believe Gary had leftover pizza, and I had leftover slider and broccoli salad. For dinner the next night, I tried a new recipe for bruschetta chicken, or I guess the correct pronunciation is bruschetta chicken. But I've tried several different recipes over the year for bruschetta chicken, but I saw one from Carlsbad Cravings that looked really good, so I decided to try it. Highly recommend. This was absolutely delicious. Both Gary and I raved about this. So here are the ingredients that we're going to use to marinate the chicken, and her recipe will be linked down below. I've got some chicken breasts, fresh lemons, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, some balsamic vinegar, salt, pesto, and crushed red pepper flakes. Now, for the chicken breasts, you do want to make sure that they aren't like super thick. So if you need to cut them in half horizontally or pound them out, go ahead and do that. So I'm going to mix everything together, and I had just enough pesto for what I needed for this, so I just mixed everything up in the little pesto jar. Less dishes. But once I've got that mixed up, I'm going to add the marinade and the chicken breast to a Ziploc bag and marinate this. Really, you could do a couple hours. I did it overnight. Now for the bruschetta topping, I've got some olive oil, salt, pepper, oregano, minced garlic, red onion, some Roma tomatoes, and fresh basil. And basically, I'm just going to chop up the tomatoes, onion, and basil, add the seasonings as well as the olive oil, give it a good stir, and then that's it. Now, I'm going to set this to the side while the oven preheats and I get everything else ready for dinner. For one of the sides, I'm going to make some roasted baby potatoes. So I've got these petite reds. If they're small, I'm going to leave them whole. If they're larger, I'll cut them in half or quarter them as needed. To season these up, I've got some kosher salt, pepper, minced garlic, olive oil, some fresh rosemary, and then some grated Parmesan cheese. So like I said, all I did was cut up the potatoes and then drizzle them with the olive oil, chop up the rosemary, season them to taste, and then I'm going to lay them out onto a baking dish. And I'm going to bake these in the oven at 425 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes. I mean, it really just depends on how thick your potatoes are. You just want to cook them until they're golden brown and tender. For my other side, I'm going to do some roasted broccolini. This was my first time cooking or having it, and it was yummy. So I've got the broccolini here. I just washed it and trimmed it. I've got some olive oil, kosher salt, pepper, minced garlic, and then some of the freshly grated Parmesan cheese. So very similar to the potatoes. All I did was toss the broccolini with the olive oil, season it with the salt and pepper, garlic, added some of the Parmesan cheese, and roasted it in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes until it was tender and started to get golden brown. While the potatoes and broccolini were cooking, I went ahead and grilled up the chicken, just cooked it until it was 165 degrees internal temperature. And during the last couple minutes of cooking, we're going to add some sliced fresh mozzarella cheese and allow that cheese to melt. Now to finish off the chicken, we need some balsamic glaze. The recipe does give instructions how to make your own, but I have some of the Trader Joe's on hand, so I'm going to just use that. And then I've got some fresh basil. That is optional. And then here's the cheese that I use. It's just the private selection from Kroger. Here is what the chicken looked like when it was done. You do want to let this rest for at least 5 or 10 minutes before you serve it up. Here are the plates. So we've got the broccolini, the roasted potatoes, and then to serve up the chicken, you just lay down the chicken with the melted mozzarella, add some of that bruschetta topping, drizzle over the balsamic glaze, and then I added some of that chopped fresh basil. And like I said, this was so good. That chicken had so much flavor. The broccolini and potatoes were delicious. Just such a yummy, fresh, summery dinner. Dinner the next night was off a meal plan, but for whatever reason, I've just really been wanting baked spaghetti. So here's what I'm going to use to put it together. First up, I'm going to use some ground turkey. You could use ground beef. You could do Italian sausage, whatever you prefer. I'm going to use this thick and zesty spaghetti seasoning mix. I've got this little bit of red onion I need to use up. So I'm going to chop that up, clean these mushrooms. I'm going to add in some garlic, some of this basil paste, and then for the tomato sauce, I just have this Bertolli tomato basil on hand. So that's what I'm going to use, and then I've got some spaghetti. In this skillet here, I've got the ground turkey, the diced onion, mushroom, minced garlic, salt and pepper, and I just cooked it until it was completely brown. Now, if you're using ground beef or Italian sausage, you may need to drain it. In this pot here, I've got the spaghetti noodles. I just cooked them in salted water according to the package instructions. And then here is the spaghetti sauce. So to the ground turkey mixture, I added in that pasta sauce, some of the basil paste, some more minced garlic, salt, pepper, and then I did add in a pinch of sugar. Now, Gary doesn't like spaghetti sauce really meaty, so I took out about half of the ground turkey mixture and set that to the side. I'll just pop this in the freezer and use it another day. So last but not least, I added the drained spaghetti noodles to the pasta sauce and gave it a mix. Now, this is good as is. You could totally eat this just as it is, but I am going to add some cheese and bake it off. Now, more, I guess, traditional, I guess you could say, would be to add mozzarella cheese, but I really wanted like the baked spaghetti that we would get at school or the daycare, which was usually American cheese or cheddar. So I'm going to add some shredded cheddar cheese, and then I popped this into a preheated oven at 350 degrees, and I just baked it for about 20 minutes until the cheese was really melted. To go along with the spaghetti, I have some of this New York Texas toast. Just baked it in the oven according to the package instructions until it was good and toasted to our liking. And then for the other side, I just did some quick side salads. I honestly don't even remember what all I put on this, just anything I could find in the fridge. So here are the finished plates. We've got some of the spaghetti, the garlic bread, and then the salads. I did some homemade ranch dressing. Gary used the Ken's Thousand Island, and this was such a yummy dinner. Totally hit the spot. For dinner the next night, I tried a new recipe for taco grilled chicken. Now, I have some thighs on hand, so that's what I'm going to use, but you could, of course, do chicken breast. This is from the Plain Chicken. I'll have the recipe linked down below. It's super, super easy. Just a handful of ingredients. We need, of course, the chicken and then some Italian dressing and taco seasoning. That's it. I combined the Italian dressing and the taco seasoning, added it to a Ziploc bag along with the chicken, and then you can marinate this for a couple hours or up to overnight. I did it overnight. Now, for the side dish, I think I've shared this before on my channel, but I am going to make a taco pasta salad. So to this bowl, I'm going to add in some mayonnaise. Next, I'm going to add in the sour cream. You could also do some like Greek yogurt. I've done that before. Works out just fine. Next, we're going to add some taco seasoning and then dry ranch dressing mix. We're going to stir that until it's really well combined, and I felt like it was just a little thick for my liking, so I'm going to add in a splash of milk. You totally don't have to do that. I'm going to whisk that milk in and then set that sauce to the side. To this bowl, I'm going to add in my cooked pasta. I've got some rotini. Use whatever pasta you like. Just cooked it in the salted water according to package instructions. Drained it really well, rinsed it with cold water. So next I'm going to add in the corn. Now the recipe suggests, I think, to use roasted corn, but I had some of the corn salad from the shrimp tacos I made last week, and all that basically was roasted corn, and then I believe it was mayonnaise or sour cream and some seasoning, so it's not going to hurt anything going in this salad, so I'm just going to use that up. I'm also going to add in some rinsed black beans. The recipe did not call for a Roma tomato, but I've got one on hand that really needs to be used up, so I'm going to add that along with some chopped mini bell peppers. I'm adding in some shredded Mexican style cheese. Just use whatever cheese you prefer I've got on hand. And then some chopped green onions. I'm going to give this a really good mix. And you could add whatever you like in here. Different vegetables. I think avocado would be good. Black olives, if you like olives, would be good. So once I've got that mix, I'm going to add in the sauce and give that a really good mix. And then that's pretty much it. Give this a taste. Adjust the seasonings to your taste. You could eat this right away. I'm going to cover this and pop it into the fridge until we're ready for it for dinner. Here is what that finished pasta salad looked like. Now, I had planned on grilling this chicken, but on this day, I just did not feel like it. So I popped the chicken thighs into my air fryer basket. I cooked these in the air fryer at, I think it was 360 degrees for about 18 to 20 minutes. Really just depends on how thick your chicken is. Just make sure you cook it until it's at least 165 degrees internal temperature, and then let it rest for like maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And a quick note, I've been asked this before when I showed this. This pink thing is a silicone air fryer basket liner. Just found it on Amazon. I know some people use like the paper liners, but I have heard that sometimes those catch fire. I don't know if that's true or not, but just to be on the safe side, I just got the silicone liners on Amazon. Love them. When I was digging through the fridge, getting all the ingredients together for the pasta salad, I came across these two items. So this is some of the blackened shrimp left over from those same blackened shrimp tacos that I made a few days before. And then this little container is just some leftover queso that Gary had from lunch one day. So Gary was pretty hungry on this day. I decided to warm up the shrimp and warm up the queso and to turn his grilled chicken thighs into tacos. So here are the plates. We've got some of the pasta salad. I wasn't super hungry, so I just had just the chicken thigh, and then like I said, for him I made tacos. Just warmed up a couple tortillas, added some of the chopped up cooked chicken, the warmed up shrimp, some of that queso, and then I think I added some tomatoes and then a little bit of sour cream, and this was our dinner this night. For the last dinner in this week's video, I'd really been wanting some chicken wings, and Kroger happened to have them on sale that week, so that was perfect timing. In this bowl here, I've got the chicken wings. Now, these were previously frozen, so I thawed them and then patted them dry really well with some paper towels. I've added them to this bowl. I'm going to add on some oil. I think this is just vegetable or canola oil. Now, for the seasonings for this, I was inspired by, I think her Instagram name is Kimmy's Creations. She did some chicken wings a while back where she used the Badia Complete orange pepper, lemon pepper, and lime pepper. And so I had some of the orange pepper on hand. I decided I'd give these a try. And I took inspiration from a recipe I found on Pinterest. I think it was called like orange honey barbecue chicken wings or something like that. I'll link that down below. So kind of took inspiration from Kimmy and Pinterest. So to season up the chicken wings, really you can use whatever seasonings you'd like. I'm going to use some of that orange pepper that I mentioned, along with some onion powder, garlic powder, and just a tiny little bit of cayenne. And then some paprika and salt. I'm going to toss those together really well and then set that to the side. Gary requested a few garlic parmesan wings, so I set some aside before I seasoned the previous ones up. I'm going to drizzle some of that same oil over these wings, and then I'm going to keep the seasoning pretty simple. The garlic parmesan wing sauce is pretty flavorful on its own, so I'm just going to stick with the Kinder's Blend seasoning. It's just salt, pepper, and garlic. I'm going to give those wings a toss and set those to the side. The oven is preheating to 425 degrees. I've got some cookie sheets that have wire racks on them. I'm going to spray them with some olive oil cooking spray. And if you are making these orange honey barbecue wings, make sure you line the pan with foil. Trust me, save yourself some elbow grease later. Line them with foil. But I'm basically just going to line the chicken wings up on the wire racks. You want to give them lots of space so they get good and crispy. I'm going to pop these into the preheated oven and bake them for about 20 to 25 minutes on the first side. Give them a flip. Bake them another 20 or 25 minutes on the second side until they're really golden brown, at least 165 degrees internal temperature. And of course, you could deep fry these if you'd like. You could also grill them or cook them in the air fryer. While the wings are cooking, I'm going to get started on the barbecue sauce. So to the saucepan, I'm going to add a little bit of butter, and I've got this over about medium heat. I'm going to allow the butter to melt and then add in some minced garlic. I'm going to give that a whisk or stir and then cook that for about 30 seconds. Next, we're going to add in the barbecue sauce. Use your favorite. I'm using some of the Sweet Baby Ray's original. Next, we're going to add in some honey. The recipe said, I think, to use like orange blossom honey. I didn't have that on hand, so I'm just using regular honey. And a little trick is you can spray your measuring cup with a little cooking spray, and the honey comes out so much easier. Next, we're going to add some orange juice. Then a little bit of brown sugar. And the recipe didn't call for this, but I'm going to add in some of that same Badia orange pepper seasoning. I'm just doing that to taste. I'm going to whisk that together really well and then just simmer this for about 10 minutes or so until it is thick. Give it a taste and adjust the seasonings to your taste. And then this is what the barbecue sauce looked like when it was done. After the 10 minutes, I just turned the heat off and set it to the side until the chicken wings were ready for it. Once those orange pepper wings were done, I just brushed both sides with some of that barbecue sauce and then popped them back in the oven for about 5 or 6 minutes. For the other wings, I'm going to toss them in some of the Buffalo Wild Wings Parmesan garlic sauce. And then just, like I said, give them a toss in a bowl, and then that's it. Those will be done. I'd really been wanting some macaroni and cheese, so to keep it simple, I just cooked up a box of this Great Value Deluxe macaroni and cheese. Cooked it according to the package instructions, but I did add in a splash of milk. So here's a picture of my plate. Gary ate later than I did. He had a couple work calls that he was on. So I've got some of the orange pepper wings, some baby carrots with ranch for dipping, and some of the macaroni and cheese. And then for Gary's plate, he's got some of the macaroni and cheese, the orange pepper barbecue wings, some carrots and celery with some of the Marzetti blue cheese for dipping, and then some of those garlic Parmesan wings. And those orange pepper wings were delicious. They were really good. Gary wasn't really sure about them at first, but he just kept raving about them. They were yummy. All right, that is it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video and got some dinner ideas from it. If you did, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.